rocking up. I appreciate you all dropping by for some replay casting of the Afreeca Champions Cup. About a week old, these replays. It's in the bottom right-hand side. Our red Zerg player is Cyril from eSports. He takes on the blue Protoss in the upper left-hand side from Storm Gaming. It's going to be MaxPaxx. As we get into game number 1 of this best of 3. Let's see what will be going down. And the winners match of this group at this point. So obviously MaxPaxx beat Raynor, Serral beat Hero. I mean, those are pretty good. That's a pretty good intro to this matchup, right? You know, they both played this matchup in the previous match against one of the very best players in the matchup in the world. I mean, come on, that's kind of a cool introduction. See what can happen here. Of course, MaxPaxx will play very differently to Hero, I think. It's funny because they're both very tricky, kind of interesting, will kind of do some weird things players. Oh, this is the part, guys, where they have their sponsors and stuff on the map, and we don't have the, the mod installed to show it, so we just randomly zoom in on a part of the map that's not there. Nice, love that part of the stream every time. As we do setups. Yeah, MaxPaxx and Hero, pretty similar players, right? You know, very, both very strong. Both kind of have their own ways of playing, and I feel like they both kind of feed off of each other's styles a little bit, but definitely with their own vibe as well, right? So, yeah, a very, very fun match coming up here. Excited to see just how different MaxPaxx's games look to Hero's. Hero obviously played a lot of robo-based stuff just there against Serral. It's just very fascinating games. Like, definitely not quite the games you usually expect to see and stuff, right? So, definitely a little bit different across the board with that. As that Nexus comes online, the Stargate is building. I'm just going to be seeing our Stargate building up for the moment. So, getting this ready to rumble as our warp gate comes on through. It's going to get hatched down, gone to 3 bases pretty quickly here and without too many issues at all. It is going to be the Stargate coming up on the side of MaxPaxx. Just getting that coming through straight away. The Void Ray coming up at the moment. Getting that ready to rumble. Our Warp Gate is building. And again, it's just going to be this Void Ray first. That's something we saw out of Hero as well. And it was on this map, right? He played triple Void Ray. I would be shocked if MaxPaxx came out with triple Void Ray as well. Like, we just don't see, like, more than one Void Ray based Dominus. We don't really see a Void Ray based Dominus. So to go triple Void Ray would be wild. But the 2 different players to do it on, like, the same group out of nowhere would be even wilder, right? So, yeah. If this is a second Void Ray, I'm going to lose my mind, because that would just be ridiculous. The only thing I could say is, what if MaxPaxx, like, literally watched the previous game, and then he was just like, oh, that's cool, I'm going to do that too. Oh, it means Serral loses his 4th hatchery if I build 3 Void Rays? Okay. Good deal, I'll take that trade. Knocks down the Overlord off over to the side just there. As you have our Nexus building up from MaxPaxx on the 3rd, obviously, so just go into 3 bases pretty quickly. Only 1 Void Ray for now. Not even an Oracle, though. Like, I did expect an Oracle to come out of that Stargate. I almost wonder if he's going to drop a second Stargate and then go back into maybe further Stargate production. But, I mean, you still want an Oracle, though, usually. Usually an Oracle is very much so something you head into in those kind of situations. What? Oh, God, 2 more Stargates. Well, you could still afford an Oracle, guys. I will stand by what I'm saying. 2 more Stargates is obviously very wild, very interesting. Definitely not quite the expectation ahead of this at all. You know, I could see 1 more Stargate out of Fleet Beacon, but 3 Stargates straight up. And he's, like I say, he's yet to build another unit off of that first Stargate. That especially, I think, has been quite mesmerizing. Phoenix is going to be on the way. Is this going to be Mass Phoenix? Oh, God. Okay, I've got no idea what's going on anymore. Plus 1 air weapon star. I mean, if you're going to build 1 Phoenix, you're going to build all the Phoenix, guys. There we go. Phoenix 2, Phoenix 3, all coming up. I'm just going to be seeing our Void Ray coming around on the right. A few Lings going down. Our lair already building on the side of Serral, so getting that set up. Our hatchery coming down onto the 6 o'clock base. Just the Adept picking off a Zergling there as well, getting that knocked down. I mean, if Cyril doesn't know about all these Phoenix, it's very plausible he's very unprepared for this as well, right? That could create quite a bit of issues, so maybe something we could see coming back into play. You know, obviously, if you just kind of don't know about the Phoenix and then they all show up, there could be a lot of damage done very quickly. Could definitely be a little bit potentially problematic. Let's grab the 2 Adepts on the right-hand side, taken down straight away here, so both those Adepts drop. We do have a Spire already building into the natural, so that's going to be Cyril's way to go about this. You need a Spire, you need Corruptors, right? What else are you really going to do against all of these Phoenix? I don't really know, man. I mean, you kind of just got to get into Corruptors or so. That are just masses and masses of Queens. Phoenix are here. First Overlord's going down. There was no spores ready to go, so Cyril was caught completely off guard by this. I don't think that the Spire at all was kind of a plan about the Phoenix. I think the Spire was just what he wanted to go into anyways, and now, I wonder if he even wants to make use of it. I guess you do just have to build some amount of Corruptors. If you've got that Spire tech coming into play, you've not been building Queens enough this game to kind of just mass Queen or anything. And you didn't know about it soon enough to really do anything. Oh god, the Queens in the main base being lifted. We're going to lose 1. Obviously, we have more than these lifts as well, so if we need to relift, we probably will do. He lifts that Queen back up. Overlords are ripe for the picking as well. Extra Queens showing up, but yeah, Overlords just free pickings. There's no spores in position. Well, there's 1 spore in the mineral line, but right now you kind of need double spore. There actually is a second, but it wasn't in range of the Phoenix. Yeah, I mean, there's just so much coverage needed, and MaxPaxx has taken a supply lead already. Serral does have 1,200 gas banked up, as I feel like he's been saving for the Spire, but now he's building Queen, so it's taking up a lot of his minerals. Yeah, he's going to start building Corruptors. The thing is, he only builds 3, because he's mineral starved. He really needs to build them all at once, because the last thing you want to happen is to have 1 or 2 Corruptors popping out, and then the Phoenix just overwhelming them, killing those all off. Right, I mean that would be somewhat disastrous, right? So you kind of need to stay away from that in general. And as our Phoenix continue through, the Anion Pulse Crystals, the Phoenix range continues up, and the +2 air weapons is building as well. So all of that being brought into play. The Phoenix over the right-hand side will be setting themselves up. A few Queens will put some damage out. Phoenix taking a lot of damage. I'm not convinced about the Corruptors at all, guys. The Phoenix, oh my god. They already have +1 as well, by the way, so yes. 2 Corruptors already died here. And we just sit here, right? We sit out of range of spores, away from the Queens, and we just pick up more and more Corruptor kills. 4 Corruptors are now dead. Not quite going to get 5 because of the Queen transfusions, but the Queens missed that transfusion, and another Corruptor does die. This Corruptor's out of range of transfusions. This is brutal. This is absolutely brutal. The Phoenix are just 2 shotting Corruptors. Okay, 1, 2, dead. Pick up some drones, you got some free time. Oh, free Corruptor over here. Yeah, we'll take that one. Too many Phoenix going unanswered for too long. And Serral just bleeding out units. He's slowly picking through the Phoenix, mind you. I guess at some point you start taking a bit too long to kill these Corruptors, and, well, I'd say maybe that would be the time to stop kind of being here. But then we are building 4 Phoenix at a time, so you're building a lot more Phoenix still. Definitely also a factor so far. Jeez. All the Phoenix down to the bottom right-hand side. Away they go. Corruptors continuing around just a little bit here, and just going to be seeing the Phoenix all the way down to the south. We're going to get them in there. 2, 3 drones already beginning to drop, so a couple of those going down almost immediately as now we get onto the Corruptors once again. Multiple of them going down at the moment. That's going to be, well, just, I mean, this is just where we're at this point. I like that MaxPaxx starts transition charge Templar Archives, because Serral is so heavily committed to the air forces. Like, if MaxPaxx has anything on the ground, he would actually just be completely amazing right now. He's starting to build carriers, so yeah, carriers and a ground, you know, a bit of ground support to help it out. And getting set up for that as we, continue through. Hey, what's up, Desert Bell? Thank you so much for the fresh new Prime sub. Much appreciated. Thanks so much for subscribing today. Things come through. Pylon goes down. Next is going to get picked away at. We do see the Corruptors starting to fight. The Phoenix doing very well for themselves. Multiple Corruptors going down. Extra Stalkers warping in. So far, so very good for MaxPaxx on the defense. Like, yeah, you're not saving the 5th, but he owns 4 bases still. I like that Cyril's actually double expanding. Taking the gold, taking the right side. He's sort of saying, well, what can you do to deny that? Well, very soon there will be zealots. And if there are zealots, then obviously, yeah, you probably can. But I think until then, it was definitely not a bad idea. Like I say, charge is only going to be up in the very near future. So, smart choice very shortly as Great Aspire starts up from Serral. Starts getting ready to play whatever sort of late game he can play here. Like I say, he's not going to be allowed to play much of one, but you got to try to take what you can in this scenario, I think, as Corruptor's taking a few more shots. The Stalker and Phoenix just pinging on them every now and then. We do have, again, just more and more emphasis being put on the ground army of MaxPaxx with the Zealots coming online. I did think we'd see some Archons by now with the Temple Archives finished. That's not been invested into yet. I do feel like that's surprising. As we do have 4 carriers on the way. Jeez. Cannons firing. Corruptors continue to take some damage. I'm just going to be having ourselves the Corruptors still trying to figure out where exactly they can go. Phoenix coming forward. It's going to go after those Corruptors, and it's going to have the Zealots start charging through. The ground army of Serral is still a little scary, I guess, unless you get the carriers over here. The carriers will make this a pretty simple defense, right? There's nothing that really kills the carriers in that group of Zerg, apart from, well, the Corruptors now here with it. Okay, you know what? MaxPaxx not being allowed a 5th base definitely gives Serral a little bit of hopes and chances in this game that he didn't have previously. Like I say, I like the Archons coming up. Anything to kind of buffer up the ground force. I do think the ground portion of this is important for MaxPaxx. You can't just let the kind of roaches overwhelm your bases and just do what they want because they can't hit the carriers, and the carriers take a while to kill them. So you need something to kind of slow those roaches down and kind of, block them up a little bit, right? Absolutely a little necessary at the very least. Let's lift up a bunch of roaches that are at the frontier, so picking through those, and that is going to be a cleanup. We've lost 12 probes, though. Our Zealots on the other side of the map that are starting to deal some damage. Over here, they're fighting Queens. Transfusions are keeping them busy, and it's going to be a quick cleanup, actually. Quicker than I thought. Quick moment to say thank you to Walk on Earth for the 6-month resub. Hey, Wardy, keep up streaming like you're doing. Really love that. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for the kind words, and thank you so much for the resub. Welcome back. And, yeah, let's keep on casting awesome StarCraft. That sounds good to me as well. 5 probes going down on the top side. Observer, please. I believe they're a dedicated observer for this, so I expected them to catch the 11 probes going down up here. A few Banes running in. Serral definitely doing the damage to disrupt quite heavily right now. As Queens continue to get some work in. The carriers coming through. Queens taking a lot of damage, in fact, but let's see if MaxPaxx can just close this out here. Archon's trying to help out this fight. The Corruptor's going to push everything back a little bit as well. Gonna be seeing those extra gates coming online. MaxPaxx, like I say, a bit more emphasis on the ground may help at certain points. Right now, the Phoenix is still a factor. I wonder if he almost wants to give up these Phoenix. Like right now, they're almost just kind of fodder for the Corruptors to hit into instead of the carriers, but in a fight, I don't know how much they're really going to bring in support. They're going to be in amongst the Corruptors now. I feel like it wasn't quite meant to be like that. Obviously, they could have dove around multiple mineral lines and traded themselves out that way if you just wanted to free up supply. Drones coming in, a couple of these drones getting knocked down again, trying to deny the gold base. Keep that away from Serral. Obviously, you do not want him to just go rampant on a gold-based economy. This army of MaxPaxx coming down this right side, trying to do what it can as it gets set up. Here we go. Carriers continue to fire up a storm. Corruptor's taking a lot of hits and just going to be seeing the Viper taken down as well. You do see those interceptors running rampant as the Archons are going to deal with these Corruptors as they fly on top. I can't imagine that these Corruptors are going to survive this. They are not having a good time at all. The Corruptors are just flopping. I mean, they got very far forward. They got right on top of the carriers, but just nowhere near enough power. And the Archons putting so much damage throughout this. This right side base is broken. Both players dropped to about 150 supply. But without a rebuilding bank available for Serral, you can't imagine there's anything he can rebuild that's going to win him this game. He's going to go 15 new Corruptors. I just don't feel like that's any better than what he just tried to use, right? You know, there's still a good amount of Archons here. There's still what you need to kill off those Corruptors, and we're going to kill probably some of them as they spawn out in different locations again, right? Well, here they are, getting rid of one carrier pretty quickly, playing a nice little kind of dive in and then dive out action there compared to before. They're obviously just kind of diving straight on through, letting the Archons run rampant. Zelda's still in the bottom left. The Roach Ravager there will be continuing to pick through and just going to knock down the Roach on the front. Ravagers will be getting taken down as across the files continue through. Corruptors going to dive on top of these carriers. We get rid of one. We're looking for more. It's just not going to be enough. Serral doesn't have the numbers necessary. That's a GG, and that's a MaxPaxx with a 1-0 lead over Serral in this best of 3. Just like that, my friends. Kind of a fascinating game, obviously. Bottom left is going to be our Blue Pro display who won that first map with the 4 Stargate Phoenix. I mean, that was definitely a wild and kind of bit of a, just honestly, straight up crazy way to be playing things there. It is MaxPaxx in the bottom left. But hey, his inventiveness and his creativity is one of the best things about him. That's in the top right, Red Zerg from NC Sports, Serral. Thanks for everyone who just came out the ads, appreciate it. Thanks so much, Aniketos Mavi, for the 6-month resub. Welcome back. I was just saying in the break, guys, if you do want to get rid of the ads, you can be a subscriber. This month, if you subscribe, 100% of the subscription revenue goes directly into a WardiTV tournament prize pool. So you'll be directly supporting StarCraft 2 events and our players. So if that interests you, get rid of those ads, listen to me chitter-chatter about nonsense between the games instead, then you can do that. Game number 2, and Serral obviously is looking to bounce back from that first game. Like I say, kind of just a wild way of playing it. Always very fun to see that kind of stuff, and yeah, very enjoyable game. I love PvZ when these guys get creative, and when they get creative and they make it work against people like Serral, right? You know, everyone's like, oh, Protoss nonsense, you're aware, but like, when Serral loses to it, you're like, oh man, like, you know, this is some real stuff. So much of it came down to the Phoenix not being seen, not being scouted as we got set up, but yes, it may have come down to that. At the same time, you could definitely say, well, hey, look, at the same time, you know, he played it very well from there. He knew when he could fight with the Phoenix against the Corruptors. He knew when he could trade. He just knew generally what to do in that situation. MaxPaxx played it very, very well. So played a very solid game of SC2. And, I mean, yeah. Just definitely knew what he had to do. I like the transition. I would have liked the Archons maybe a little sooner, but yeah, I mean, you can't really criticize that much. They worked anyways. I only say because he had the Templar Archives, and then he just didn't build Archons for a bit. And with the Archons, he might have been able to hold the 5th base earlier, which would have just kind of eased his kind of closing out of that game if he had the 5th base a bit sooner. It was the one thing that Serral was really holding on to in terms of being able to kind of stay in the game and maybe get back into the game, right? By the Council. Going to be the opening choice here from MaxPaxx, so going to mix it up and probably play some Glaves to start out this game number 2. Just going to be going into that as his choice way of playing. Well, that comes up. Let's see what kind of Glaves though, man. There's so many different ways to play Glaves now. We've seen today 6-gate Glaves. We've seen 3-gate Glaves into Robo Bay. There's obviously the typical 4-gate Prism Glaves. There's so many follow-ups. Like, Glaves as an opening has actually just got so much versatility to it. These are 2 more gates and then Glaves, no Robo. So this is going to be 3-gate Glaves. Potentially could go 6-gate Glaves. That's what we saw from MaxPaxx earlier against Raynor. We could just play this 3-gate Glaves into a Robo Bay follow-up as well. So lots of different possibilities here, quite frankly. It's kind of fascinating just how technical and diverse Glaves can be. Like, you kind of understand it with Stargate, because Stargate's like, well, you just build an Oracle, it's just a bit of map control, and then you do what you want. Glaves is like, hey, this is meant to be like an attack, it's meant to be somewhat committed, right? That kind of thing, it's got that kind of vibe to it, but to then be able to do so many different types of it, like I said, it's cool that so many different styles of it are so good, and that obviously empowers it overall as a style, right? Because if you were not, you know, if it was only one kind of Glaves or one kind of build of Glaves that would work, then people know what that build is. There being different variations of it make it that much more difficult to prepare for and to deal with every single time. Makes life a lot more confusing. There's going to be 3 more gates, guys. We're going to see the 6-gate glaves here. Pretty darn committed right now, getting set up for this. Antep's going to go shading through, jumping into towards the natural expansion. It's going to be seeing our Rotron coming up. We're building Burrow as Serral. Is that intentional? He cancels it. Burrow could be interesting in a way if you burrow drones instead of having to run them away when the Adepts show up in certain mineral lines. But obviously it's a big investment. It's a costly investment, and that's the problem. It costs you quite a bit of money. So that's something you got to be careful with as our Prism continuing through for the moment. Our lanes get around to the right side, going to grab a couple of Adepts, or at least try to. And now all the Adepts coming out the front. I mean, it feels like Serral's prepared. He's been building Lings and Roaches for quite some time at this point. Well, this is a good fight for these Adepts as they get in. The Lings surrounding around. Twelve, 13 drones going down. Jesus. Okay, well. You killed a lot of Lings, you kill a bunch of drones. This is already looking fantastic for MaxPaxx. Jesus, I mean, goodness, what on earth? How did this just become so much damage so quickly? Serral was not prepared. He was prepared, but he wasn't prepared, apparently. Jeez. It's going to be seeing our Queens coming through, and Depths will be continuing to shade in. I mean, we just lost 24 workers. The hope for Serral now, he starts to build up some drones, but I think the hope for Serral to some extent is you clean up these Adepts enough that you can stop a warp-in happening again, and once you stop that, then maybe you could say, hey, look, let's just get going and just go straight up all across the map with a full-on attack. And as our Adepts will load back into the prison, that's the problem. Some Adepts already ready to threaten again. Serral is drone. I think he knows he can't just win with a counter, and even if he tried to, there is a Robobay coming up. We're not far from MaxPaxx having extra and better units to hold off one of those counterattacks with. There's the first disruptor coming up. Serral in a world of trouble, guys. He's down 19, well, let's just call it 20 workers, shall we? There or thereabouts. MaxPaxx building the third only just now. It's obviously a pretty late third. It's going to be seeing a couple Stalkers coming through. The Adepts continue up and making our way through the center here. A couple Stalkers continuing on to the Overlord. Adepts going to try and get on top of that Queen. Not quite able to just yet, as the Stalkers will be able to... Oh, I thought get that Overlord, but the Transfuser's there. Serral going to do anything he can to save whatever he can. It's that kind of a game right now where you just need any little bit of something to help you out. Disruptor coming through. Gravitic Drive coming through. That Blink is coming up from MaxPaxx as well, so continuing to build into this. Get that Blink underway. Just continue to tech up correctly, right? I mean, you've got the Adepts and Disruptors for now. The Blink will stabilize you against higher Roach counts as well. I mean, this guy is, again, just a horrible position for Serral to be playing out of. We'll see if he can work some of that Serral magic. You absolutely need it right now. You need something spectacular here. There's Lings coming through. Disruptor coming in, Adepts and Stalkers continuing forward. Just gonna have this Overlord is gonna get picked off here. It's gonna be having our Ravager getting picked off as well. Disruptor shot goes up that ramp. So Stalkers continuing through here as well. I'm just gonna be seeing our fight continue. Is this the fight that Serral dies on? Well, his army supply is okay. It's still his worker count that's the biggest issue, which I guess this is good for MaxPaxx in that regard, because you're obviously forcing Serral to keep on building units. You're not giving them the chance to keep on droning up. Stalkers and Disruptor still gathered together. Just going to see the Creep Tumor going down. A few Lings still taking damage. Disruptor shot comes in. Roach going to get popped. The Blink is going to be up in just a moment. So that is going to be even better for MaxPaxx to keep on pressuring with here. This really is only getting worse and worse for Serral, unfortunately. This is not getting any better. This Disruptor gonna get denied before it fires, though. Did MaxPaxx step a little bit too far forward, perhaps? I think we could absolutely argue that may be the case. And obviously, the Stalkers can blink back, though. I mean, you're still up a bunch of workers here as MaxPaxx, so eventually you will just end up on so much more, no matter what. And again, that really does become just a big part of the issue as time passes by. As Stalkers can keep on trying to trade because the Disruptor shot coming in, hits a few roaches. I mean, Cyril has no choice but to build units and just hope that MaxPaxx trades horribly. Kind of overcommits himself, maybe loses the Prism, and then maybe you get a big surge of drones off, and maybe you can begin to go from there in general. Stalkers continue through, Lings, Roaches, Ravages continuing up, and across we go. Just going to be seeing our Prism. Continue to come into the front there a little bit. Stalkers continue the fight. Going to be seeing a few more Stalkers continuing through for the moment here, so keeping this going. Stalkers readying themselves up, and our Ravagers looking to try and come on through. A couple more Corrosive Valves coming in. Our Disruptor runs to try and get those Ravagers. Serral is stuck on 53 drones still, and obviously MaxPaxx 4 bases, 79 probes. It shouldn't really be plausible. The Roach is getting around the back, backing up a little bit. Stalker's going to open up the rocks here. Also just give you a bit more space to move through. At this point, you've got enough Stalkers to really justify it, and I don't think you're too scared about being chased through there as Lings start to move forward a bit. You got those Blinks back if necessary. Roach is still getting picked up. A couple of Corrosive Valves still coming down. Now, Baneland Nest is coming up on the side of Serral. Isn't quite ready just yet as the Disruptor will land for a couple of the Ravagers. 28 Lings still coming through. Another Disruptor shot just going to clip a Roach. Guys, we're watching Serral just try and maintain life as best as possible right here for as long as he possibly can. Corrosive Valves continue to land. You see a couple of Adepts shading forward. Just trying to threaten other places. Serral's going to do the right thing. Counterattack would be great if he just surrounds the cannon and then goes after the probes. As MaxPaxx sends a Disruptor the wrong way. Was he afraid of a flank, maybe? He has vision back there with the Prism, so I'm kind of surprised the Disruptor shot goes like that. That's obviously a little bit wild. Ling's going to come through. A couple of probes. The Stalker taking damage. Corrosive Valves will be coming up, and the Disruptor shot. Again, just zoning as best as possible. Again, you would imagine at some point Serral will finally break. He's not droned in forever. He has snuck into a +1 melee upgrade that's almost done here to help things out. Will that be enough as we have Disruptors going to move forward. Just going to collect there nicely. Ravagers get hit. Get more Roach Ravagers. Just going to go down again. Serral, Disruptor shots are going to just end things here. That is going to be GG's. And MaxPaxx is going to take this 2-0 over Serral in the winners match. That gets them out of the group into the playoffs. And with, again, just a very fun way of playing, a very fun style. Just awesome. Awesome StarCraft 2. It's really fun to see just inventive and different PvZs doing so well. Took a while to end the game.